called to order. We have a roll call. Frank. Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Harper.
Here.
Keeley.
Here.
Clemish.
Here.
Michael.
Here.
Schultz.
Yes. Here.
Williams.
Yes, here.
Welch.
Okay, first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes for the 7/17 of 19 meeting. That would be our working meeting. Do we have any changes or additions or corrections to said minutes?
Move we approve the minutes of the July 17, 2019 meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a question. For members present, am I missing one? There's 8 members accounted for.
Yeah, because Welch was asking.
Yeah, there's 7
Oh.
present and Welch absent.
Oh,
So we got,
so who is?
you.
The chicken, so.
Yeah, well,
Zane Williams came late.
yeah.
That's what it is.
It says
Oh,
correction, which is under index.
Yeah.
I even read that later too.
That's a good
Trick
question.
question.
It was a trick question because none of us could figure it out.
Seeing if 8 it's
They all can count to 7,
Great addition, guys. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Minutes. Okay. We have an agenda change. Brian, if you could come and address that for me, please, that'd be great.
At 7:05, you had the Cullehavy family. Basically what happened is back in February, you see some of the documents, they applied for a conditional use. In actuality, they don't need one. So for what they're proposing. I ran with it, and I apologize, I didn't double check. It predates me. As we ran all the documents, I sat down, looked at it, Jessica and I looked at it, and said, wait a minute, they don't need one. So I called her, made her day, told her I'll send her $100, and I'm not sending the $100, the county is sending. But they're relieved. So in that place that we have, so we have 10 minutes, I suggest that maybe you possibly move to administrative item. We have a young lady and her mother here to discuss potential of having chickens in a rural residential district. Moving that up to start that discussion is further our thumb.
Okay, that being said, are there any other changes or additions to the agenda that is posted? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the agenda with the change, move the administrative items to 7:05 in place of the voting.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item, are there any conflict of interest declarations on this agenda that is here today?
Not a conflict of interest, but I will at this time state that the 725 item, Ryland River cabin, those individuals were donors to my campaign.
Same with me.
Okay. All right, so we are going to move now to the 705 item that has been changed to chicken egg laying hens in a rural residential area. Our administrative item, and that has to do with Amy New. Is Amy New here?
Yes.
You want to come up and discuss that? Then you get to go home early.
Hey! We're gonna stand in front of the podium so you can see Miss Lily.
I love chickens and I want to be able to have chickens because I don't think it's fair that my friends in the city can have chickens and I can't.
And where do you live?
I live 3706 Christian.
Riverside Acres.
North of Riverside Acres, lives in Clark West. How many chickens do you want? 12.
Chickens. What kind of chickens are you looking at getting?
Buck Orpington and Rhode Island Red.
And those will all be hen chickens?
Yep.
Okay.
Where you put the chickens?
Where are you gonna put your chickens?
I'm going to put them in the back half of our garden shed.
Which they have a picture.
Yes.
Okay, and that's like an 8 by 10 or 8 by 12?
I think it's like 8 by 20,
8 by 20?
10 by 20. I think it's 10 by 20.
10 by 20?
And then the little area behind it as well will fence in for, so they have an outside door as well. Yep. But controlled outside door, not just round.
There is a beacon page on how far it goes out showing the location of the house.
This one?
Yep. So what's behind it there? I guess is that the
What's
corn?
behind us?
The
Looks
corn?
It's a farm field.
Just a big road.
Yep. Corn this year, I believe,
How big is your lot?
half acre.
And so you're in R3, is that the problem?
It's, chickens are not allowed in any residential district, so. But I will talk you through how we possibly can do this.
Okay.
Is it not that they're not allowed, they just are not allowed, right? They're not banned or anything.
They're not specifically noted, how about that?
They're not specifically called out, it's just. Have you spoken with any of your neighbors?
No, this was our first step, and we need
Okay.
to approach the homeowners association.
Okay.
Which she's getting on the agenda for that meeting next.
Okay, so you're in an association?
Yes.
Brian, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I'd let them answer the questions first, and then we have to do some deep thinking on this one.
You want to sit down?
Do you have any more to share, because she.
What makes those chickens, often goes into the chicken choice?
Why do you want those
Why do you
chickens?
want those chickens, that breed of chicken?
Because the Buck Orpington has bigger eggs
Okay.
and it's easier to eat.
Makes
And what
sense.
about the Rhode Island Reds?
The Rhode Island Reds, I have a friend that has them and they're really good.
Are you gonna sell the eggs to your parents?
That's a different agenda.
Are you planning to do 4-H or something like that with the chickens maybe sometime? Or you just want to have some chickens?
Probably just have chickens.
Mr. New, are you
If I have
aware,
to.
Mr. New, are you aware from your homeowners agreements that there's any restrictions in your
Yes,
covenants
yes,
on it now?
yes.
Are there restrictions in your
Yes.
covenant?
There's right now, no farm animals, so next is her,
You have to understand that even though whatever we say here,
right,
you still have to comply.
that's why she's gonna be on that agenda at that next meeting as well.
Because actually, they
Because
should.
technically, you almost have to have permission from them before you can come to us to do that. I mean, you have to clear it with your homeowners association before, because if it's a covenant on your property, we can't override what they say.
But right now, the county says we can't. So if I go to them now, they're gonna say, well, what's the county say?
Kind of a
We're gonna say,
chicken.
well, the
Yeah,
county.
it's a vicious circle.
Yes.
But the homeowners, that at least that we've dealt with before, has always superseded our laws.
Right.
You need to start there first.
Well,
But she's
Well, she
just,
doesn't have
here's,
to.
we're not starting, we're just discussing.
You're discussing, yeah, we're not even doing
Here's the
anything.
deal, if she goes there, you know, and gets permission, then she comes back here and then we say no, I mean, she's just trying to get a feel of it.
Exactly.
Of where we're standing.
We'd
That's
love you
all.
to have chicken.
We're not deciding, I think it's a great idea, but, you know, yeah, we have to do it the right way and we don't know, you know, there's a lot of things to think about.
We need to take
How
those
many,
on her behalf.
how many chickens does your friend have in Yankton?
I think six.
I don't know. You're talking about Eden?
Not 12.
I think it's 6 in town.
Yeah.
How would you feel if someone told you you couldn't have 12? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Would you go with whatever is decided?
I think the issue becomes, you know, from our standpoint or from the ordinance standpoint is, we open what we can here if we go outside of that. I don't see Brian, maybe he's got some other insight on how that goes, but specifically in the R2 district that they're in,
It's R3.
it's not allowed.
Well, it was never allowed in Yankton either,
No, I know.
and it is now, so it can be done.
But they're
I
definitely-
mean, we could, you know, we could allow the same amount that they allow in town because you're talking about close proximity to your neighbors. And
well,
that's the whole
yeah, we need to
idea.
base.
I mean,
it on-
there's.
Yeah,
They're allowed-
so if they're allowed to have
Right.
six.
You're on a half acre lot.
Right.
Yeah. Which have to be allowed. We had chickens next to my father-in-law. That was wilderness.
What's up, Christie Lake?
3 acres. The fence allowed noise that.
Yeah, does
Yes,
anyone have
yes.
more questions for?
That was pretty straightforward, but we can get into the discussion of it.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Brian, you're up.
Well, yes, chicken coops are not specifically called out in a residential district. So this presents somewhat of a quandary. But we do have the classification of unlisted uses, which we can utilize here. The one question I had of the young lady was, are you gonna sell some of the eggs? Well, if I have to, you can. Well, that would be a home occupation, which is an accessory use in a district. Okay? Then it doesn't have any abnormal buildings or things like that. Well, it's a storage shed or yard shed with a fence. Okay, why did me on this one? Because she sat down with me and Mom and we had a long discussion on this. Now, is it an animal feeding operation or hobby farm, which are not allowed in those districts? Actually, no, because 33 chickens would equate to 1 animal unit. Class F is 1 animal unit to $2.99. So so it's rounded down to 15 chickens to equal 1/2 of an animal unit. Actually, a little bit more, but we easily just say 15. Same as with a hobby farm. Hobby farm states you have to have 1 acre for every animal unit, but if you go 1/2 animal unit to 1/2 acre, you'd be okay there. So you're getting that 15. She spoke of 1 and 12. So you can make that argument. So yes, this would be starting something new. Is it completely prohibited? No. Does it take some creative meandering through the ordinance? Yes. Just as we did with the fireworks stand. You know, let it meander a little bit to get there. Now, I believe if we're do something like this, I think you're right, check with the neighbors. Regarding, and I don't know what you've done, originally, you know, the county does not enforce covenants, does not enforce, you know, private easements, we don't deal with any of that. And early on, we dealt with something in Riverside Acres, there was a covenant, and, you know, we'll approve it. But you deal with that, that does not authorize you to decrease your setback greater than what the county setback is. Or, you know, counties was less than theirs, but sorry, you have to follow yours, that's it, that doesn't mean we write it off. So however you want to do this, if we get to the approval stage, we can certainly approve it, and they have to take care of the homeowners association. So it's a creative way to look at this. If you want to go down this road, the actual law in the city is you're allowed 6 hens, and they cannot be seen by the traveling public. So they have to be hidden. Can't be seen from a road, a sidewalk, anything. And complaints, it's enforced on the complaint basis only. So they don't have the chicken police driving around looking for chicken police. And, I mean, house on the property, of course. It can be free, not in a coop, you can keep it on the property. So, young lady has, she taught me, I know it's nervous sitting up here, how she's going to clip the wings, treat them, feed them, take care of them. She's all over this. I learned a lot. So, I think her relatives have them, so that's what we turn around to this. So basically, we'd have to look at it, pretty much, we look at it as a home occupation as being an own and accessory use, or we use some classification on list of uses and see if we can make that fit. But we can slide under Class F, we can slide under a hobby farm because it is not one animal. But again, a little creativity that we can probably address when you're rewriting zoning. I'm very surprised this hasn't come up.
And I do.
I know one of their neighbors very well, I've worked for him for 25 years. So, the neighbor to the west is my current boss, so. But other than that, that's where I see potentially go after this one.
I'm thinking a home occupation would be the best way to do that.
Well, if you look at everything and, you know, in a rural residential district in R3,
Are they R3 or R2?
there are 3 half-acre lots. Home occupation would be accessory use, but then she'd have to sell eggs every once in a while.
Sell eggs to your mom.
I think it was Dad who was taking it, actually. So it would have to be basically a home occupation, and the definition of that, basically, don't generate additional traffic in the street, don't have equipment or structures not necessarily found in that district. If everyone has a garden shed,
And it looks like it's in the backyard, and the only neighbor to the back is the farm field, so.
I don't see that.
It could
farm
be
field as-
instrumental in her horticulture operation.
Well, I'm sure the newer will do something for the horticulture operation. Bug control.
The other suggestion was unlisted uses. What is that for, if not for things like this?
Well, that's exactly what it's for, it's things like this. Now, it's, this one's a little tougher to maybe fit, but, you know, conditional uses are, it's a tougher leap there to get to tie to something there that's similar enough to a chicken coop. You have dwellings, you know, daycares, manufactured homes, parks, signs outside, swimming pools and towers are conditional uses. So the best way in, honestly, is going to have permanent uses or daycares, family, dwelling, single family, government services, horticulture, modular homes, and utility facilities. So I think it's best bet is tying somewhat horticulture and that really, the accessory use is the best I can come with. We're sitting across the table and trying to look for a way not to say no. I can still say no really well, but in this case, I want an option. Intent is always to try to say yes. So I think their intent is to have an indication that we can't give an idea that's gonna pass, so we're not allowed to do that. But if this feels like it makes sense, I think they can go to their homeowner association, which is when the meeting?
Has not been determined yet.
Okay, you'll call for her and then schedule it based on this.
There's a meeting coming up in the near future about a road, so she's gonna ask to get on that agenda.
So there you go, soften a road district discussion with little chickens, I mean, why not? So that's where they're at in discussing this. But they will be locked up at night, make any noise for some reason. She has it all figured out. Any other questions for me?
If we went, hobby farm, get two straight if we called it a hobby farm, then need a variance for the 1 acre. Do we need a variance for the 1 acre?
Hobby farm is listed as a use.
Right. If we went down the route of unlisted uses, called it a hobby farm, is that good enough, or do we need to? The definition in hobby farm is 1 acre.
Right, so that would equal 33 chickens.
Right, that's what he's saying, it doesn't even meet the requirements of a hobby farm, because she doesn't have enough chickens. So,
No,
I mean,
you can have up
if-
to. What I'm saying is, because I follow call it 15 chickens for a half acre.
Right, but it says the minimum you have to have for a hobby farm is 1 acre,
Right.
basically.
Right.
So we have to do a variance on the lot size, and go through that. I guess I'd rather not call it a hobby farm, and see what I can do in the zoning ordinance. Say, well, it's not a hobby farm,
And then
and
everybody.
it's not an
will-
animal feeding operation. So,
Right, right,
it's,
I mean,
it's chickens.
it's not enough to call it a hobby.
My guess is their homeowners organization would not like to see it called a hobby farm.
Right, and I'm guessing you don't want to open a hobby farm.
I don't think that's
or
what
a hobby
the
farm.
organization would like to see.
Even with this, I mean, even with this, if we move this, I mean, it's like, this isn't gonna be the last one.
No,
So sitting here talking about, well, there's a field in the back, or there's there's an existing shed that really doesn't help us in the big picture. It helps us with this one. So we have to kind of put this together, knowing the next person who comes forward might not have the same
so,
set.
I hope we get this put together and then we add this to our notes on our zoning ordinance to write a section handling small, whatever, chickens on in residential districts.
Miniature buildings.
Sure.
well, they might have an easier time selling it, excuse me, to the homeowners association if they only ask for 6, because, I mean, if you can have 6 in town, in a higher concentration of people. This is just my suggestion, I'm not saying you have to do this is just my suggestion, that it might be an easier sell to them. I mean, it's just 6 chickens. I mean, if they can do what they want, it is their choice, but that's just,
I think
food for thought is all I'm saying.
from our standpoint, 6 is, however we look at it, just as easy or just as hard to sell as 15 or whatever.
Well, she wanted 12.
You know, I think I can follow how we get there. And maybe the homeowners association would shed light on what they would consider, assuming the county would go forward with it, what they would consider acceptable to them, number of chickens. And, go forward with that. If they're fine with 15, we'll look at 15. If they want 6 maximum, we'll look at 6.
Yeah, and you got
Well, that's true.
I mean, any town lot on average is gonna be, standard city lot is 7,500 square feet. A half acre, you're looking at 2170. So just a reference point.
We're on a poll, or what are we doing? Just kind of vote on
Or
it.
it's just
Yeah, we're just
discussion.
gonna sit here going.
It's up to them to go and forth.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and we're just discussing it, I think it's a wonderful
I think you can
idea.
encourage them to move forward.
I
That's not,
certainly would.
Yeah,
Encourage you to move forward.
sure.
you can do a motion to that extent, because you're not deciding one way or another how you're voting on improvement.
Do we need that?
No, I don't think we really even need that. This was just a point for discussion. I mean,
So the consensus is you're encouraging them to move forward with their idea.
Yeah, I'd
Right.
say it's worth proceeding to your homeowners association.
Really, at some point, if that's okay,
Thank you, Lily. Nice job.
probably do an interpretation of the adjustment, and they move forward. That's where we're at, really. Okay?
Thank you.
Good luck.
thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda. Excuse me. Henry Doring. 902 Beamer Street, a conditional use permit for a garage in Lot A, except Lot 2A of the Bernard subdivision, north half of the west half of the west half of the northwest quarter. Does it say in the township? Utica South Township, thank you. So the township is 93, range 56, township 63-3, section. Section is 159356 lot 3.
Mr. Doring is asking for, basically wants to do, if you turn to the simplest way to state this, to show it as a picture, of course, go 3 pages in for 1, 2, and then look at the 3rd page in. What he's wanting to do is add a garage to his property. The uniqueness of his property is he's up against the Chalkstone Bluff in that area. So it's off Highway 52 out to the lake, and then up towards the bluff. But coming down the top of the bluff is R2, then it's R2 down the face of the bluff, and then maybe a little bit on the flat right behind his house. Then the front, the part, and right about 5 feet behind his house to the bluff and up is R2. And 5 feet forward to Highway 52 is lakeside commercial. So his house and the proposed placement of the new garage is in highway commercial. So something, he had no, this was not by any action of his own, but it was zoned lakeside commercial. So we're trying to figure out, if he wants to put a garage there, how are we going to make the garage fit? So we look at different ways. We can't slide it any further back because you can't excavate into that bluff. It's just not safe to do so. Talked to his contractor, he's been in and talked to us a couple times. Mr. Doran's been in and talked to us a couple times. So what we're looking to do, we have to do something unique here, and actually in the lakeside commercial, we're going to have to do a conditional use to potentially put a garage in that area, which is unique in nature, that we probably have never seen or attempted to do. Now, this is going to require, in addition to this, your review, and then on top of that, we'll have to do a classification list of uses to to determine what's a garage and similar in nature, and then we'll go on to the order adjustment, and you'll have to make a nutrition determination if that will work. So it's a unique situation that we're trying to resolve here this time. It says in your conditional uses for lakeside commercial, and what we're looking at, we have what I've looked at here to try to make this fit would be garages, public, outdoor storage areas, self-storage warehouses, warehousing facilities, and somehow, if you feel so inclined, make those turn into a garage. So this man who's a residential property zoned over lakeside commercial, he feels close enough to make sure that he can have a garage. On that note, I will let him explain personal approach to this, and I'll be ready to close next time.
Thank you.
Harold? Henry, sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Your turn.
What am I supposed to do? I mean, you said it all, so.
I don't have the personality that you do, so.
You don't want my personality, I can guarantee you. Hello there.
Looks like you have 2.23 acres, or is there another part that's attached to this?
See, that was it, when I bought this, that was all followed up, everything was followed up on that thing. It's 3 and a surveyor out there, 3-some acres now.
Okay.
3.32.
So that 1.09 acres is added to it.
Well,
The
if you got
section
the diagram,
directly
all that,
adjacent, it's added to it.
See where this job starts
Oh,
to jog?
yeah,
That's where, that's one lot, and that's the other lot.
yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
they
a
were
total of 3.3.
3.3, more than enough room in the garage.
You just want the garage, just park a car, boat, or something like that.
Well, yes, what do you put in the garage? I mean, that's what I want. There's a shed there. I mean, you're gonna have it. The shed is, actually, the shed was down below. The shed was moved on to the, somebody meant to move the shed off. When you do that, it's into the ground, so that don't make a whole lot of sense.
That shed to the west was in a different spot.
Correct.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Who's next?
You'd be surprised what people do in a garage.
Well,
If they're gonna repair motor vehicles in there, we could just do an
I'm a
additional.
little old to repair motor vehicle. Can't even see very good.
I'm just trying to help you out, make it a little simpler.
Yeah. I don't need it any. I need it simple, yeah. And what is a conditional use?
That is a permit to allow you to do something outside of the normal allowed uses in that area. And as Brian said, you're in kind of a pickle because it's a mixed zone where you are. Part of it is R2, which you can build your garage all you want in an R2 zone. But unfortunately, where you want to build the garage is in a commercial zone. So commercial is generally like a business zone. So
Well,
that's
yeah.
the problem.
Public garage is just closed all the time.
It could be an oil change facility. Do you ever change your oil?
You wanna start a business that's just never open, right?
I think I was a little started business. All I wanted is a garage to put the vehicles in. I mean, and that garage, wherever the line is, the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life, commercial and residential. If I'm right, I think the garage will be in residential. I'm not sure, cutting it in half.
Half and half.
Well, it depends on where that line exactly, I don't know where it is, nobody seems to know.
Well, according to this, I can show you. This isn't 100% accurate, but, and yeah, it's nothing that, your house was already there, you ran that line.
Well, the garage might be part of commercial and part of it might dead center again, half and half.
Is he gonna break the line on that?
Well, I don't know where the line is. I don't think anybody
Two
knows.
different.
You don't wanna break that line.
Yeah, but the garage is gonna be half and half probably. The house is even, we're not even sure where the house is.
On the larger maps we've looked at and studied, it's, as I described, it's about 5 feet, and we've measured, it's 5 feet behind the house.
Okay.
And
The
going
commercial.
straight, go to the north side of your house and going straight east and west.
Commercial.
Yeah, your house is 5 feet in the lakeside commercial.
Okay, now, the garage now is gonna be towards the bank, so it will be in residential partly now, if we get it that way.
That's not how you have it drawn.
Well, I didn't even have that
This, I think, there's all trees, and maybe that big trees, the bank, and everything else.
Yeah.
Keep going to here,
I just don't want to use it, you think it's
Mr. Doherty,
If you have a house there, you should be able to have a garage. Just because the zoning map doesn't correspond with his property line, it's not, shouldn't be detrimental to what he wants to do with his property. I mean, let's face it.
you don't intend on attaching that garage to your home?
No.
Right, that's a good point. You want to say it louder, you don't need to say it. To say you can have a house there either in Lakeside Commercial? But he's got one, so.
I'm guessing the house is there pre-zoning.
I don't think they're conditional use in lakeside commercial.
Is there other uses in
Dwelling, single family.
Lakeside?
I actually checked that he's good to go if you go to commercial, for a conditional use permit. Because under section 1107, conditional uses in lakeside commercial, garage is public, and if you look at the definition of garage is public, a building or portion thereof used for housing or care of motor vehicle for the general public. So it doesn't necessarily say that it's a gas station or a car repair shop. It says for housing or repair. So as long as he's just housing his vehicle there, like you said, we're already in a pickle because of the line. And technically in R2, he wouldn't need a conditional use to build a garage there anyway.
No.
I think for the general public.
It's gonna be in, he's gonna be in lakeside commercial because of the line. And he's applying for conditional use to do that. I don't see where this,
Well, for the general public is where,
he's justified.
He's general.
Yeah. Are you, if someone came to visit you, say a relative or a friend, that would be from the general public, would you ever allow them to park inside your garage?
Say yes.
Say yes.
Common sense would tell you that.
Sure, okay, so then we are using this garage for the
but
public.
self-storage, where we don't have.
He allows someone else to park in it, it's for the public. So then we can do it, and we can help you.
Well, we can do it. I think we all agree we want to have a garage. We just have to figure out how to do it.
How to do it within the confines of the ordinance. All right. Do we have any more questions for Mr. Doran? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. All right, now I need to ask the audience, do we have anyone that wants to speak on this issue? Okay, Hearing none, the time for public input is now closed on this agenda item. Do we have any discussion or a motion from the board?
I think we should, you know, if we look at our findings of fact and say that public garages are a conditional use, and tie that into section 1109 for classification of unlisted uses, and that could be part of our findings of fact, that even though it doesn't, similar to how we did the fireworks on commercial, that although it doesn't explicitly say that, the fact that you can have a public garage in this area and still self-storage warehouses, that we should allow this because of that.
Good idea.
You wanna repeat that, Dan?
In the form of a motion?
Well, I mean, I think, let's have discussion, unless somebody, that's just my idea, if somebody's got something.
Sounds great.
Do warehousing.
Alright.
Do warehousing,
Yeah.
because that's a cleaner definition of storage.
Self-storage warehouse is a conditional use. I don't see clean.
Warehousing facilities, the last one.
Okay. I guess I would make a motion to approve, based on section 1109 classification of unlisted uses, although a garage is not specifically cited. Public garages are, in addition to warehousing facilities and self-storage facilities. And in order to ensure the zoning ordinance will permit similar uses in this district, I deem that they're similar enough to approve.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote when you're ready.
Frame,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Clemish,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Welch.
Okay, motion approved. All right.
Wasn't so bad.
Could have been a lot worse.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Ryland River Rat Cabin LLC, 44873 River Rat Road. Conditional use permit for variances to reduce minimum lot requirements for two principal dwellings from 20 acres to .80 acres, and a second from 20 acres to .69 acres in an agricultural district. Reduction of front yards from 75 feet to 20 feet and 35 feet. Rear yards from 75 feet to 5 feet and 5 feet, and an accessory structure side yard setback from 75 feet to 10 feet. It resides in Lot A of Parcel C, Weaverstad's Addition, Section 2. Oh, the south half, excuse me, of Section 21, T93 North, Range 54 West.
Good evening. Before you here is the Ryland property. We've seen this before, and I just want to clarify what exactly we are proposing. I work with Mr. Ryland, Mr. Tao, Mr. Ryland, about how to best address this situation within the zoning ordinance. We have a non-conforming lot, which is allowed to continue in perpetuity. We also had a structure was built on there, everyone knows, without building permit and garage. Looking at this and trying to avoid all future situations, the section 1503 of the zoning ordinance does allow for two structures on the lot, provided you meet the requirement for area i.e. lot size, and as well as setbacks. So here, there's no attempt to plat this out and create two separate lots. What we're doing here is looking at it saying, you're putting one house, just as if you had 20-acre minimum, someone wants to put two houses on that, and, okay, you can't, because that's 10 acres and 10 acres. So what you need to do, you have to get a variance of some sort to have two 10-acre lots, but you're not breaking it apart. That's in essence what we're pursuing here. And you also have to have setbacks of, 75 feet all the way around. They don't have that, so what we're doing here is separate variances based on front yard, side yard, rear yard, where they don't have setbacks. Some they do on the side, some they don't, but we're picking here where they need. So they basically need variances for lot size, because it's 20-acre requirement, and one's going down to 0.8, one's going down to 0.69. And then from there, within those lots, of course, due to the size of the original lot, they'll need front yard variances of 75 feet to 20 feet, and the second one would be to 35 feet, and rear yards of 75 feet to 5 feet and 5 feet. Side yards do not seem to be an issue in that area. They're obviously 75 feet away from the side lots, or 75 feet from the other structure. The other issue here, that's the original, I'll call the original property. Now going to the new garage, it says there on the cover sheet, the final issue is a setback of newly constructed post-zoning regulations garage, which requires a side yard variance of 65 feet on the east edge of the property. Again, this is nothing more than an attempt to utilize the zoning ordinance, clean up this piece of property. Can't do anything more than what we're doing right here. They won't be able to expand, it's not making the lot bigger, it's not creating two separate lots. It's just defining exactly what it is, where it is, where the structures are, clean up the garage issue without a permit, get that taken care of, and move forward. That's the intent of all of this.
So the two lots cannot be split.
There is no two lots.
It can't be sold as two separate lots. And then the first and the second that you went through, the first part of it with the variances for the front yard, side yard, the front rear essentially. That lot existed in that condition when it was purchased. Is that my understanding?
It's a non-conforming lot in that size, yes. But again, the only way we'd have to plat this lot would be if someone were financing one of the structures separately, and of course someone would have to plat it. Since the owner owns all the structures, we don't have to plat anything. So it'd be like a farmer buying a house for their daughter or son and putting it on their farmstead. They can do that if they're not planning it out. We allow that. Put it on another 20 acres, whatever it be, like they're just gonna do it. So you can see, it's not a very good picture, but you can still read and see the font. And I apologize for the picture, it's too slightly over time. You can see some of the measurements there that we're dealing with.
I guess my question is, we have non-conforming lots all over this county. We don't make people come in for variances to bring them into conformity essentially. So I have no problem doing so, but I just want it clear that the first variance is the property was purchased that way, in my understanding. So we're essentially gonna look at approving a variance for something that this existed before.
Yeah, pre-zoning at that, is that size?
Pre-zoning.
Well,
Other than the garage, that garage is a separate issue, or the other building.
Right, but lot size should, we say non-conforming because I've been corrected in this before. It's non-conforming only if it was done after zoning, right? If it
No,
was,
still
it's
not.
non-conforming, it comes out of non-conformance if you do the steps in the ordinance to bring it into conformance with variances and stuff. However, it's non-conforming and it's grandfathered in, it was that way before zoning. But if we're gonna do this for this property, there's hundreds, if not thousands of properties in Yankton County with non-conforming issues on them. We have them all over the place.
If you hold them to the standards of the existing zoning ordinance,
Yeah.
yeah, they would be they're non-conforming, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah,
So we have not, I mean, we have whole developments where everything is non-conforming because it's too close to the road or everybody's too close to a sideline or something, and we have not gone and made them variance pre-zoning construction.
Right.
And I'm okay with doing so if they're in front of us for another issue.
If they're
or
asking us
whatever.
to do it for whatever reason, that's different.
Right,
But I don't think it's something that's required. If you're gonna require it, then you would have to require it throughout the county.
Well, yeah, it's not required.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the ordinance that says you have to bring your property up to the ordinance standard by any certain time or ever. And if you start doing that, don't you open up a bigger can of worms? Because now you have this confusion, do I need to, do I need what? Should I? I mean, what's the purpose?
Previously, we had a pretty
What's the
good.
purpose?
Well, first, let's back a second. This is, there's multi-levels of non-conforming. This primarily we're looking at is a non-conforming lot of record. Not only was it platted before zoning, it was recorded before zoning. Because there's a lot of lots out there that weren't recorded. They're not grandfathered in. It has to be recorded. This was recorded, so it's a non-conforming lot of record. We've had multiple issues over, I don't know, predates me. I don't know how long there's been some discussion. I know in 2006, the commission granted a conditional use permit for someone to operate a kayak business on it. I have minutes from that meeting. So obviously, they didn't feel an issue. Since the garage was built, and there's been such contention with this piece of property, I looked at it, examined the zoning ordinance, and said, let's just close every loophole we can on this. Do all these so you make everything not necessarily somewhat conforming, because you get a variance on the setback that don't fit, you get a variance on the lot size, and then it basically, it's over. There's really not a lot to fight about after this. So just put it to bed. Is it aggressive? Absolutely. But it's a way to put everything, would I go out and chase people to do this every time? No, but I'd like to get this out of your hands, hair, whatever you want to say, move it along and be done with it.
Well, I know what you're saying, and it certainly is a way of cleaning up this one particular lot if they want to do it. But I hate the precedent that it sets, that somehow people should consider that they have to variance construction or lot sizes that were existing before zoning to somehow to come into compliance within Yankton County. Those lots of record are lots of record, and whatever construction was there before zoning. And that's just something that Yankton County needs to learn to live with, that stuff is there. We had a very good record of early on saying anything that's in non-compliance, what we do is say, whatever else you're gonna do, don't make your non-compliance worse.
Yeah.
If all the houses on the street are at 28 feet and you want to put a garage on, you can put your garage at 28 feet with your house, but you can't put it at 26, 2 foot in front of your house. That's the way that for 10 years or better, this was kind of taken care of. We're saying non-conformance is non-conformance, just don't make your non-conformance worse.
Right.
And that's what happens.
The applicants are okay with proceeding down this.
And that's, the garage is a separate issue. We're not talking about the garage. That's a totally separate issue.
You are in a way, because you shouldn't, if you're a non-conforming, if you look to break up the non-conforming section, and you go lot and structures, because the structures don't meet the setbacks that's required by the ordinance, because the lot's not 20 acres. Structures don't meet all the setbacks being 75 feet back. So you have non-conforming lots and structures together. You shouldn't be doing anything to expand that non-conformity, i.e. build a new garage.
You shouldn't without a permit. You should have come in and you should have got variances and stuff to build that garage. That didn't happen this time. It didn't happen with, I'm guessing, several hundred people based on who all they found through the aerial views, some of even county commissioners.
But
That have the same problem.
in non-conforming, you're generally not trying to encourage its survival. You want it to go away. I mean, that's the intent of non-conforming is.
There certainly is that language in the ordinance. I don't know what percent
So-
of the board is
so
on.
the
I'll say
intent-
this just because I brought it up. As long as applicants are okay with proceeding in this manner, I certainly think we can take the opportunity to clean it up while we're here. It also addresses having 2 homes in Edina, one we talked about, and different, things like that. my point simply was that when we are looking at approving this, know that it existed this way, that, you know, the applicant did 0 to
And that
put
should
it
be
into this.
in the findings
request.
of fact.
Right.
This is not something we should be seeing again, somebody coming in and variancing already existing property. This is not something we should see as a regular rule.
Right.
This stuff is grandfathered. This property may be a little bit special in that it's problematic for whatever reasons it's problematic, but this is not the way we're going to treat these kind of properties.
To me, the part of the issue in this thing though was when it first came in here, to be the kayaking, bed and breakfast kind of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't talked, you know, at that time talked about it. The conditional use that we gave them or whatever on that property to go ahead was for that type of a business.
Yeah.
In the process, that went away and it became a residential place. So everything that we put in that conditional use at that time about getting the septic system approved and all that stuff, went with that conditional use. They got sold off to something else now. Where are we at with that? Because
Well, except it
that was
was,
what the conditional use was for that business that was started.
Well, once a business is defunct, the conditional use is defunct.
once it hasn't been used for a year in that maybe, but it was residential before that conditional use was put on. Is that conditional use was put on a residential property for them to be able to have those people stay in there, and it had more than one residence technically on it at that point. So even if it reverts back to the property as it was before that conditional use, it was a residential property. Yeah, it was a residential property with more than one structure on it. I'm not saying we can't do this. I'm saying we're not going to keep doing this. This is not something we're going to do as a general rule. This is not the way it should be handled.
I guess for my benefit, then I'm gonna ask, because maybe I don't understand, what brought this all, is the garage issue? What brought this to a head?
I'm sure we should.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
should
do.
let the applicant come up and speak unless you have any other specific questions for.
Maybe they don't want to speak after they heard all that.
I don't know, Mr. Harper, I don't know.
I'm sorry, but it's not clear to me why, what's, you know, so whoever wants to say that, I'm just bringing it up.
Okay.
We get the PowerPoint.
We got fancy.
Some slides.
So I'm Julie Ryland. I've owned this property since 2005. This is my husband, Phil Top. We are from 338.
You don't have to say your
Okay.
names, it's okay.
So we'd like to bring this to a resolution because this has been over us for the past year at least. And you've got the packets that we put together for you. We've talked about the residences, the 2 residents, and we just wanted to say, yes, in 2006, there was no problem at all having 12 people stay in that property overnight multiple times as a bed and breakfast. So why there's a problem having 2 residents there now when there are only 4 people, we struggle with. But at the last meeting on June 11th of this year, we reviewed how we got here after a year of delay, errors, accusations, and interference. Make no mistake, this isn't about a garage too close to a lot line without a permit. Many of these buildings exist in Yankton County, as you've already said tonight, and no one else is being brought before the county in this manner. We believe that the opposition to us is solely retribution and to make an example of us to others for what happens when you organize and ask your local government to be responsible and accountable to all the people they represent. The power brokers in Yankton County don't like this. The latest effort is now Carl Schenk's claim to have an interest in our property and the transfer of property to the Missouri River. How did Carl Schenk obtain this interest? Okay, it began in 1966 when Mr. Florin Weaverstead purchased property along the Missouri River and James River Valley near Bayville. The parcels were sold as platted in 1865. Florin was unmarried at the time and had 2 sons, Richard and Robert, to whom he conveyed 1/3 interest to each son. This was done 53 years ago, and that's parcels B, C, and D. In 1981, when the river flooded that whole area, Lot A was the single lot that you see. Did you see that? It's not on there. But because everything else was underwater, Florin couldn't get to it. So he sold it to his friend Jack Cody. The county approved the plat and the sale was made.
This was not recorded until 5 years later in '86, 33 years ago. But the problem was that Florence signed the documents and his two sons did not. So no one bothered to check, and the interest of the two sons who were old enough to sign and legally needed to. This failure to sign the plat and deed documents is the loophole that Carl Schenk is using to reclaim an interest that has not been recognized for over 30 years.
So, I have a little more to read here, but just so you know where it is. This is parcel B, and this is parcel C. This is a blow up, because parcel B here sits on top of, north of parcel D that connects over here, parcel C. So this is kind of an overview instead of what this is. So if there's kind of two maps here, so I know it's confusing. This is the old document that is in the county upstairs as we speak. So there's about 40 acres down here, and the old Missouri River was down here, and at the time of this parcel in 1966, or before when we bought this, the Missouri River was about here. Okay? So those were the whole parcels are. On March 7th of this year, 2019, parcels B, C, and D were transferred from the Weaverstadt Trust to Florence's granddaughter and her husband. The very next day, parcels C and D, only C and D, not B, but just C and D, the very next day were transferred to Carl Schenk. A new statement regarding the interest in Lot A was now added to these documents. There's a lot of documents in between 1966 and 2019 accepting Lot A, but I don't need to get into that. As of today, I went up and checked a quick claim deed. I left you a package on your desk. It's still on file for Mr. Schenk's interest in Lot A of parcel C, and another quick claim deed is on file for parcel C and D, both filed on the same day, March 8th of 2019, just this spring. We found out about some of these events just prior to the last meeting on June 11th, and that was why we requested the delay. After that meeting, Mr. John Gunderson approached us in the hallway. He stated he believed that Carl had a solution to our problem, and I told John there was no solution to that problem from Carl. Well, after calming down and thinking on it for a couple days, Julie and I reached out to John Gunderson and spoke a couple times on the phone. On the second call, he requested that I call Mr. Ross Denherter, the legal counsel for Carl Schenk, for the details on this offer to solve our problems. Mr. Gunderson knew the details, but was understandably reluctant to be the official conduit for that information. However, John advised us that this offer was much more reasonable than he would have made. Well, we called Mr. Denherter, and he told us Carl would accept a payment to buy out his interest in Lot A and another payment to purchase parcel C and D. According to Carl, this would bring our property into conformity with an ag district and have more than 20 acres. In addition, Carl wanted us to sign an agreement to, quote, end all hostilities. We would agree to not complain any further about hog confinements, particularly his hog barn along Highway 50, 2 miles north of us, nor complain about any issues with the application of manure near our property. For his part, Carl would agree to drop any and all opposition to our garage variance, our dual residence, and any permits on Lot A. According to records of sale in the Board of Equalization Office, Carl purchased those 40 acres of parcel C and D for $50. For our silence and money, all of this can get tucked away like nothing ever happened. How much? Well, for Carl's interest in Lot A on our property, which is where we live, 1.5 acres, for Carl's interest in Lot A, $32,000. To purchase the 40 acres of land that has been underwater for 40 years or more, an additional $80,000. A total of $112,000 and a pledge of silence. We have reason to believe that Carl has operated in this manner for many years, knowing that the agreements mean nothing, but no one will dare call him out or have enough money to take him to court. People in this county are afraid to stand up for their rights. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not be bullied. We will not be extorted by anyone, let alone one of the wealthiest landowners in this county. We have sent an official demand letter to Carl through his legal counsel to remove all of his claims on our property. His deadline for response is this Friday, the 17th, and we are waiting for that response before we take any further action. Tonight, we ask you to approve the variance request, despite Carl's deeds on file, because they are legal documents upstairs, and put the matter of our garage and 2 residents to rest, and send your approval recommendation to the Board of Adjustment. That was a statement I had prepared. We had prepared in the discussion ahead of this. Mr. Hanson, I think you had some questions about how all this happened. It happened because we asked the county commission and the previous planning zoning on hog confinements. We organized and we stood here and asked for either biofilters if they're appropriate, ground well monitors, trees, follow the ordinances, those types of things. It was not anti-ag, it was pro-responsibility government taking care of all the citizens. And we had the guts to stand up here and do it, along with several others here, okay? So as soon as that satellite flew over and found the garage that we built, and that's another story, because we asked to get a building permit, said we didn't need one, okay? As soon as they found that out, they started rubbing their hands together and said, "You got him. We got the president of quality of life for South Dakota, and we're gonna nail him to the wall. And we're gonna make him an example. Because we're not from here, and we're carpetbaggers. Shame on them. That's why we're here."
Thanks for your answer.
Questions? Can you say any questions?
No, I think you were pretty articulate. I don't
Yeah.
have any questions if you have any.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, one thing about, you said you asked about a permit and were told you did need, but that was not in the Yankton County, that was in the city of Gatorville, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And we, in 2016, we had just moved here from Sioux Falls. We didn't understand that we needed to go to the county. And when we went, and when our contractor went to Gatorville and asked for a permit, he was told that we were outside of Gatorville city limits and we didn't need one. Our contractor's from Sioux City. He didn't know that he needed to go to the county. And
So there were plenty of mistakes that happened. And a lot of these mistakes could be avoided and were ignored until they had us. And I'm not pointing my finger at you, Zane, but this county has done nothing to help this situation. They've done nothing to change and clean up the ordinance, whether it's chickens for some little girl in the county somewhere, or a hobby farm, or where you can have one. Technically, I'm not supposed to have a hobby farm because I'm an ag district, for God's sake. What the hell is that all about? Okay? There's a lot of things you gotta clear up. Not one sign in this county on any road says that Yankton County is zoned and you have to get a permit, a building permit. Not one.
Yeah, you come in up by Center Point, I guess we drive that along, it says very.
Then there's one.
You've seen
Then
him
there's
in, you've
one.
seen him in Clay
But
County, but
there's
we've
one
never
on
seen
every
him
page
here.
Coming
of
from
the Clay County.
Turner, I just drive that road a lot, and that's the only one I've seen, that's
Right.
coming from another town, another church. another
Well, I
town.
drive from Clay County to here every day, and there are no signs,
You're all
because you're
Nothing
coming
inside.
into
Yeah,
Clay.
that could be.
And it's evidenced by how many people were in violation, including the county commissioner. Right? We want to clear this up. We'd like to clear it up now.
Any other questions?
Do you want to go through the, what is it, the multiple variances or
My,
what's your,
my preference would be to not do that, because it's not clean. It sets a bad precedence, as Mr. Harper would say. I appreciate Mr. McGinnis's effort to try and clear this up and put it to rest. It's much more I got at him than Mr. Garrity ever even tried. And in fact, these meetings that we found out that something may have happened way back when, I had to dig those out myself and find there was an action by the Board of Adjustment in this county and nobody bothered to look. I don't know how the records are kept here. There's a CUP on file for that property somewhere. Should be, and it should probably have stamped expired because, as Mr. Michael pointed out, the company no longer exists. But the property does, and it was residence before, and the septic tank was there long before that.
We had to have the DNR come out and look at the septic tank before, because nobody knew that it had already been approved
Been
in
approved.
2006.
So it's been approved
The
twice.
accusations that we were dumping waste into the river because nobody bothered to look.
So the DENR did inspect it.
In March, and in 2006.
Do you have that report?
From
I do.
March.
No, yeah, from the DNR, I mean,
No,
they would
that-
give you a report if they
Scott
inspected.
Hipple talked to Rob Clemish, the state's attorney. Whether that was verbal, written, or email, I do not know.
I was provided a copy, I assumed it was gonna be put into whatever.
You don't have it either with you?
I probably have an email. I didn't read it, but give me a minute. My
So you're
largest-
saying you don't like all the, you said you had a different plan instead of what Brian was proposing?
I won't say that I have a different plan, I just don't think all this hubbub is necessary. All the variances and all the, for two residents or whatever. If you need to make a variance to say two residents are allowed, go for it. Or if we're not. But there's this, and I understand the nonconformity, you don't want to make it worse, and we made a mistake, and we did, we put a building on, we tried to do it right. Just like this, you ask your contractor to go take care of it, that's what we did. So here we are. Plenty of mistakes on our part, the contractor's part, county's part, zoning administrator's part. Who knows? I know we needed variance for the line, and that we gotta pay a fine for that. I get that. The building permit, we weren't trying to hide anything. The building permit's $45, for God's sakes. Okay, so how do you want to handle the variances? I don't know, it seems reasonable to do it that way. But there's some precedents, or what are you trying to set up and go move forward?
Well, if it's put in the finding of fact that it was a non-conforming lot of record before zoning, everything was, you know, the houses were built prior to zoning, that should be sufficient. But if you want to leave the variances out there for the yard,
For the house.
The house,
The garage, we have to act separately on, that's a post-construction garage without a, without a
Yeah,
permit, we
you have to act
on.
on the garage that we built.
right.
This seems to be.
The setbacks for all the properties, and we're next to accretion land, if you want to think of it that way.
Right.
Okay, so, but that bank was unstable, and the line that crappy line that drew in 1966, since they built the dam, it hasn't changed much, and it's underwater right now. And up to 2011, it got up to the top of the bank, and it's still there. But those lines are not right. And I understand the problem back in, when they platted it and when they sold it, it was not done right. The Board of Equalization Office, they don't know what to do about it. They don't know how to make it right. Because I want to make it right. Well, I can't make it right. Go to the report, the deeds office. Well, we're not legal, that's them. We throw up our hands pretty soon. All we want to do is go home at night and have a beer and go to bed, wake up in the morning, start it again. Oh, she didn't want to be here. Okay?
Okay. I'm gonna,
We gotta get the public input first.
Don't make a motion.
If there's any other
this is the
questions.
motion. Go ahead. I found this email
Thank you, we'll be here.
from Clark Christensen to Scott Hipple. It's 6 paragraphs long, I'll paraphrase. Conducted on-site wastewater inspection at Built House property, 2 miles west of Gayville and south. He allowed me to visit. has changed on the river. Mr. Tosh showed me the locations, 2 septic tank riser pipes on the property with the site septic tank 20 feet west of the garage that receives wastewater from the house. Mr. Tosh took me to another riser pipe, long and short of it. We went to the site of the second septic tank and riser number 2. There was no water, no surfacing of the septic. And I told him I would report my observations to Scott Nicholas up with DER. Well, it's located at a distance greater than the required 75 feet from the nearest septic tank. So and he has some pictures of risers and things like that.
Good.
Well, if this block property was gonna be split, then I think the variance process that Brian laid out would have to be followed. You have to variance everything and if from the property, but being there's no plating or splitting or anything going on with any of this property. I don't see that it's any different from any other property that has pre-zoning structures that don't conform to the current ordinance.
Well, here, I think it's in the best interest to go through the 2 variances based, okay, so Article 16, non-conformance, page 106.
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah.
sorry, I was reading, I thought you were.
Okay. All right, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this particular item? Okay, hearing none, time for public input is now closed. Now, we will close.
Okay, so non-conformance, which were lawful before this ordinance was passed or amended, but would be prohibited, regulated, or restricted by the terms of this ordinance for future amendment. It's the intent to permit these non-conformities to continue until they are removed, not to encourage their survival. It's further the intent that non-conformity shall be enlarged upon, expanded, or extended, or be used as grounds for adding other structures or uses prohibited elsewhere in the same district. So that's where it would bring this up to.
So if you take the literal what that says, that means any of these properties in Yankton County that don't meet 100% of our setbacks and our lot sizes can't do anything.
I know what you're saying.
So
I'm
if you're
just
gonna
saying
open that
for-
floodgate, we're gonna open it for everybody. I'd rather see us straighten out non-conformance than to see us open that floodgate.
Was this a second structure that was created as part of a conditional use permit that was approved?
The second structure is all predating zoning. The only structure is the whatever garage or shed that they added after that they didn't have a permit for that was found out.
I agree
That's
with the
totally
variance on, I agree with the variance on that one that was built. But what do we want to do about the 2 residences there? I mean, they had a conditional use permit for bed and breakfast.
In my opinion, the conditional use hasn't been used for over a year, it's expired.
Well, was it, the conditional use was not for a kayak excursion. The conditional use was for beds, right?
People to stay there.
For people to stay there, and if somebody's been staying there consistently since 2006, and it haven't been used.
Well, I don't think it's been used as a bed and breakfast, it's been used as a residence.
Yeah, we just approved, motel out by the lake that a guy's been living in his apartment for the last 5 years.
And we did that earlier this year.
Yeah. I mean, call it what you want, I guess. But, just thought I'd say that it's not the conditional use was not for an excursion or expedition, it was for
People stay there technically, and that's the only reason it's for a bed and breakfast is because that's as close, it's just like when we try to get chickens. That bed and breakfast is as close as you can find to what described what they were doing.
But nothing was ever built underneath that CUP.
No,
Correct.
nothing was requested to be built underneath it, nor built underneath the CUP.
Well, I've been hearing rumblings that CUPs expire if nothing is built.
No, I
So
believe that
it's
CUP was for the
stuff that's already there.
structure that the second residence.
Right.
That was the intent of the.
And they probably did do some work in the buildings to fix them up. They did do that, yeah. But I mean, it wasn't a CUP to build them. It was already there. They just worked within the structure that was there.
Okay.
Former residential thing.
Right. I mean, we can't always get a condition, you know, we didn't have a conditional use for a raft excursion company in our ordinance, you know. Sometimes you have to try and find something that's close that you can put it underneath.
Well, Madam Chairman, can I pose this to the applicant? If you want to just proceed forward with the original issue that was started a year and a half or 2 years ago, I would move that that's what we do.
I would second that we move forward with the garage, whatever the garage situation, the shed situation, whichever it is, move forward with that. We've had a bunch of those. Zane, you probably did a bunch of them while you were here. A lot of them got found. I'm sure you know exactly how we acted, kind of with the other ones. You know.
That's the one where we had a house found that was built.
Yeah, I know some of them were more egregious than others, and no doubt about it, but
So
that to
basically,
me is the issue.
basically what we're looking at is just strictly the variance on the building that was built without, if we have, who's paid the fine.
Yeah,
So
they'll
not
have a
having
post.
to go to permit, and then we'll bring it in compliance, even though it's in a non-conforming lot,
Yeah,
with the non-conforming lot.
correct. Yeah, because if he would have, you know, if he would have known that he had to have a building permit and would have come forward, he would have been put through a process of variances and stuff to be able to have that garage.
In the setbacks, proper setbacks.
So we would variance, even then, we would not have variance the houses that were there. We would have variance the garage he wanted to build. You know, I'm just unwilling to see us start down the road of variancing stuff that was there before zoning, because that's a quagmire. I mean, there's tons of it out there.
I just think that's a can once you open it, you can't close.
That's right. You can't treat people differently.
If I may, Madam Chair?
Yes.
You asked how I felt about that, and I'm fine going down that path. The only question is that second residence, that's okay. I don't know how long they're gonna stay, or how long we're gonna stay, but if that's an open-ended item, or we're gonna throw it under with the other CUP that is expired.
It shouldn't require anything to have a second residence on that property because it was there before zoning.
Is there?
Right.
There's plenty of farm places that have more than one residence on them. that
Right.
are-
I just wanna make sure-
I know several guys that have that.
So let me make sure I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
All right.
He said that at the very beginning, that they're having two residences on one piece of property prior to zoning.
So get me right, now this takes me a little bit. So there's two residential buildings on there? I thought the shed that was built was turned into a,
No.
well, it was that other
Those two
garage.
houses were on the property prior to zoning.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
what the
but-
change
but only
finder
one
found,
911
what the change finder found was
The shed.
a new building that is a garage that
The
nobody
garage.
lives in, it's just a garage.
Right. But there is only one 911 address that we talked about.
Yes.
And that was a problem.
Yeah,
Because it has to have that, sure.
yeah, that they can cure that. so.
Right.
And I'll actually second his motion that we move forward with
With the garage.
the garage, with the post-construction garage.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. And request that in the findings of fact, we make note that both residences and,
This is just to move forward.
Yeah, except we got, what she's saying is, that we're,
I get-
attached to this motion is the fact that both of these houses were there before.
prior to zoning.
I agree with that.
Just so that it's in the record, so that people understand that now. Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll call a vote when you're ready.
We probably don't need a roll
Yes, we
call.
do. Let's go ahead.
This is to move forward, this is not
To move forward. This is just to move forward.
Oh,
Move forward in this way, in other words, to take
okay.
the other part of this off.
Okay.
I think we should have a motion that shows that we did that. And we're removing all the variances for the homes.
Frank,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Clemish,
Yes.
Michael,
Yeah.
Schultz,
Yes.
Williams,
No,
Welch. Motion carried or passed?
Motion carried, takes the vote.
Now we're just gonna deal with the variance.
Now we're gonna deal with the garage.
Variance on the garage.
Post-construction variances and stuff on the garage.
can we do a CUP on this whole thing, if all these variances? We're gonna open up a can of worms. Why can't we get this a CUP?
Give this garage a CUP, because we don't have the changes made in the ordinance yet to do that. In other words, we have those changes in the ordinance coming up, but we don't really have the changes passed in order to do it yet.
We gave CUP to, they gave CUP to the other, to this, River Rat, whatever, when they initially did that.
That was a CUP to operate a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
what that
we need a
CUP is
variance
for.
for a minimum lot, variance for the lot distance for this next year, right?
That's what I'm thinking, there's gotta be variances, distance to lot lines from this garage, and then there's gotta be, I don't know how you guys dealt with the post-construction, if that was handled administratively in the zoning office, or if that came to you and you had all these people that had structures, whether it was a shed, a garage, or a house. I don't know how you handled that before, but we should try and handle it the same way as it was handled.
Any of them that were conforming, my understanding is any of them that were conforming, that simply were post-permit.
Just pay the
They just paid
post-construction.
the $100 fine. And you would think bound to be non-conforming came in front of this board.
So anything that needed a variance or anything like that,
Yeah,
the board can ask for the variance.
Like the
So
Google's-
Scott Sorensen, there was a shed that was built too close to a lot line, non-conforming, post-construction, he paid $100 fine, got a variance for the property.
So they just came in, did the regular variance process, he paid his post-construction permit at the zoning office, came in here and got his variances. If that's the case, then these people would just be looking for just regular variances
Yeah,
for
it's
whatever
listed.
variances are needed for this garage.
It's listed, the final issue is the setback of the newly constructed post-zoning regulations garage, which requires a side yard variance of 65 feet from the east edge of the property. It's listed on the front page of their application. So they have it measured out already.
The variance is 65 feet total variance, but it's from 75 to 10. Right? I just want to make sure.
Well, it's a variance of 65.
Of 65, yeah. I just want to make sure I'm
They
understanding.
have it listed correctly.
Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Sure.
I guess the only thing I would say is it's a little surprising to me that it's only $100 down here. I mean,
That's what we did everybody else.
okay.
I guess. Go more.
Well, there's a fee schedule,
Right, you have to follow the fee schedule. or it's someplace
Or
else.
Is it fine or?
They have to be treated the same as everybody else.
right? Wasn't there post-construction fee prior to it?
I mean, there's
But
different
that's if there's a nuisance, that's different.
But I believe it's a post-construction fee. Part of our fee schedule. We just changed it actually, starting September 1st, it did increase.
So Brian, for the garage itself, we're looking at one variance of 65 feet from the east edge of the property, is that correct?
I think he's 65 feet too close.
That's what it says in their note.
Right.
But that's the only one that's just on the east side is the only one that's too close?
This
65
says
feet.
side lot.
Correct. I can't quite tell, I can't, from the picture, I can't, the black picture doesn't really allow you.
It looks like there's 13 foot in that picture. Roughly.
So it's obviously 10 feet from the property line, he's asking for a 65-foot variance. And we estimated 13 feet by the picture. See on this picture, we rounded it to 10 to be safe, I believe. These are the ones you prepared, right, Mr. Howard?
Correct.
So we estimated 10 when we did our thing to be safe. Usually it's a 65.
We're okay off the front.
Yeah, we're fine all the way around, just that side, east line.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Do we need to have any public on this? Public comment on this?
On the variance, I think we've already had public comment on the issue.
On the whole thing in
as
general, we
well.
have, yeah. So if
That
we're
should
okay
be,
with that, we're
if they
okay
had
with
something to
that.
say, they should have said it then.
Okay.
After extension, discussion and explanations.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
I'm still a little confused on how this gets handled in general. Find some building like this has been built or a house or shed or whatever it is, or it's not. This $100 that we're talking about, is that in the regulation somewhere? That
We
says-
don't
He just
actually
said
have,
they
we don't
just
actually have a
approved it
fine for that.
September.
There's nothing in there that says fine. What we're doing is charging a building permit cost. So we don't have one, we should have one. We
That's-
don't.
No, I believe we do, and it's $100. Post-construction fine is what our fee is.
Yeah.
It's a fine, it is a fine.
And we discussed it,
It didn't use it.
we increased it.
Plus the permit fee.
Yes.
When we had that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
it's the
it's-
same.
It's $100 per
Yeah,
bill.
it's not a feature.
It's $100 fee plus any applicable permit fees.
What the permit would have been
What it
as
was
they filed
as
the
they had done.
procedure.
Correct. So you get slapped with a whole $100. There was a guy who built an entire house with no permit, he paid $100.
I think the overwhelming majority of these were mistakes, and, a lot of them found, and there's some that clearly weren't mistakes, but I think the overwhelming majority of them were just mistakes, People think
There were
that-
garden sheds that were
Little sheds
14
that-
by 10.
Yeah, they're too big, and they thought they didn't need a building permit,
Or
or,
you're an ag district.
yeah.
I'm just trying to understand it, so I'm clear, I don't like to vote one way or the other if I'm not clear. But, so that's handled, who imposes the fine? The zoning, planning zoning administrator?
Yeah, what's his name? Yep, they pay the fine in his office.
So
So the
what,
fine is statutory, it's in the thing, $100 fine plus the,
and what, you say the thing, what,
it's in the.
I haven't found it, so that's
We have a,
why.
it's not in the ordinance, but there's a fee schedule, part of
It
the.
mentions fee schedule, but I didn't see it in here, that's why.
That's what.
There's two things. We have fees, which don't involve the state's attorney or courts. So we have a building, post-building permit fee. Okay, and what Jonathan was talking to is the class 2 misdemeanor, which is in the back of your book, which currently is $200 or 30 days in jail. Now a class 2 misdemeanor is $500 or 30 days, but that involves the courts. So to make it smoother, we do have a post-permit fee.
Okay.
Not a fine.
So it's a fee.
Yes, it's a fee, which is going up to $500 as of September 1st.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Still cheaper than lawyers.
Plus the
Plus the
applicable
regular
building permit.
building
fees.
permit fee.
Yeah, Article 23 covers that.
Revenues and whatever else. Revenues and stuff.
Okay, any other discussion or motion from the board? on the variance for the garage.
I move approval of the variance for the, of 65 feet for side yard requirements for the town island property.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Who seconded that?
I did.
Do we have further discussion?
Sure.
Are we gonna do a fee then on that, fine or something like that?
Are we going to?
No, yeah,
He's already paid.
He's already paid it.
the fine.
Yeah, he already said that. The post-construction fee, he's already paid it. Oh, you didn't? I thought you said-
No, ma'am, I've paid $200 for variance hearings,
Oh, okay, I
which is part of the
misinterpreted
normal
that.
process. So whatever the fee fine is,
So much about it.
and then the building permit.
Should be whatever the post-construction fee is, and then whatever the building permit would have cost him in the first place. Both of those together. That's what it should be. I'm assuming that's, seeing the way you guys kind of did it.
I don't even know if that needs to be in the motion or if that's just part of the administrative.
I don't- yeah, I don't-
To the motion.
I agree, I don't know if that's part of our,
I think if it's an administrative function, we should change it to administrative function.
Yeah. So we have a motion and a second, roll call vote when you're ready.
Frank,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Harper,
yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Michael,
Yeah.
Schultz,
Yes.
Williams,
No.
Welch.
Okay, motion carried.
Did I get to vote?
Oh, limit,
See what they
sorry.
look like with scripts.
Limit.
No. You didn't get to vote. That was a-
Yes.
Thank you, sorry.
You ever seen those two guys, you know,
Gotta make everybody bring out compliance on a non-conforming lot.
I agree with that.
Every day.
Is brought back to order. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing on ordinance amendments. Proposed changes to section 101, Article 1, definition of accessory building. Article 6, sections 605 and 607. Article 7, sections 705 and 707. Article 8, sections 805 and 807. Article 10, section 1007. All right. Mr. McGinnis. We have compliance with comprehensive plan for changes regarding accessory structure sizes and definitions. Reference chapter 5 in housing, uses developed housing lots to limit additional undeveloped land use. Chapter 7 in the economy provides multiple options within residential development to help attract and retain a varied workforce. Chapter 8 of the comprehensive plan dealing with land use expands the tax base by allowing additional capital investment in existing residential sites. And it takes no prime farmland out of production. And you can make a copy of this if you want.
In order to get those, all I did was go through the comprehensive plan and look at the the strategies, the planning, long-term problems and the long-term planning goals, and took what we're trying to do with the enlarging the accessory structures, and took the planning goals that I thought it met, and technically put together a sentence that I thought pointed out how what we're doing meets the planning goals that are in the comprehensive plan.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that. Read all of this into the record?
Well, we don't have before.
You don't have to go through all of it.
Okay.
But we do have to take public comment.
Well, we need to explain it to the public though, so that they understand what the changes are. They don't have this in front of them.
They could have gotten it.
They
You can read it
could
if
have
you want.
You can read whatever you would want to. If you want to explain what they are, I certainly won't hurt anything,
All right,
what the changes are.
all right. If it's in the record, then they don't have a reason not to understand.
Take a drink first.
You take turns if you want to. Read the whole thing, there you go.
All right, I'm all up for taking turns. Who likes to read aloud? I'll read the first paragraph.
Be like in school, she'll point.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're supposed
That's what I
to
was
call
waiting
them
for.
by name. All right. The Planning and Zoning Board recommends that Article 1, Section 101 have the following sentence added to page 34 of the current zoning ordinance. An official copy of the official zoning ordinance of Yankton County shall be updated and located in the following offices of Yankton County: the Yankton County Auditor's Office, the Yankton County Register of Deeds Office, the Yankton County Planning and Zoning Office. The Yankton County zoning ordinance is also available to the public on the Yankton County website online in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law number 7-18A-25.1. All right, you can read next, Dan.
Skip Joe.
The zoning board
The
members.
zoning board members discussed and came to an agreement to propose amending the zoning ordinance by increasing the maximum size and sidewall height currently allowed in the Yankton zoning ordinance. This determination was made due to the increasing amount of requests by Yankton County residents requesting larger buildings and improvements. We analyzed data from the last 10 years in a previous zoning meeting and determined what increases we believe will best serve the citizens of Yankton.
You may read next.
Proposed changes are outlined below. Article 6, low density, rural residential, section 605. Permitted accessory uses and structures. 1 4,000 square foot accessory building sidewall height shall not exceed 16 feet as measured from the highest point of the finished floor at grade to the highest point of the wall. Article 7, moderate density R2, section 705. A 2,400 square foot accessory structure, sidewall height shall not exceed 14 feet as measured from the highest point. Article finished floor at grade to the highest point of the wall frame. Article 8, high density, section 805. A 1,600 square foot accessory structure with sidewall heights should not exceed 12 feet as measured from the highest point of the finished floor to the highest point of the wall frame.
All right. I'll read the next part. We'll just go down the line. This proposed change is contingent, oh, we don't have to go through all that. Or should I read that too?
Just go through the changes.
Just go through the
So,
changes.
then
All right.
we
Articles.
did that.
This should greatly reduce the number of variances needed by the zoning administrator and heard by the planning and zoning board and the board of adjustment. In accordance with updating section 605, zone R1 and section 705, zone R2 and section 805, zone R3, we also need to update the language in section 607, section 707, and section 807 to allow for buildings of a larger size as a conditional use by adding a bullet point to each section as follows. Article 6, Section 607, conditional uses, bullet point 17, accessory structures exceeding 4,000 square feet and/or exceeding a sidewall height of 16 feet. Article 7, Section 707, conditional uses, bullet point 13, accessory structures exceeding 2,400 square feet and/or a sidewall height of 14, exceeding a sidewall height of 14 feet. Or Article 8, Section 807, conditional use, bullet point 9, accessory structures exceeding 1,600 square feet and/or exceeding a sidewall height of 12 feet.
The Planning and Zoning Board also discussed the need to change the definition of accessory building on page 1 of the definitions section of the ordinance. The changes are as follows. A subordinate building, the use of which is purely incidental to the main building and is not attached to the principal building. It shall be unlawful for any person.
That's the only change, you don't have to vote on this.
All right.
Okay. That's it. And that's it.
I know, that worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah, the very last part you can read.
Yeah, and you
There you go, I'll
volunteered.
do it. The Planning and Zoning Board recommends that Article 10, Section 1007 have the following bullet point added to conditional uses of the current zoning ordinance. Fireworks sales.
There you go.
And that's
All right.
the extent of the changes. Okay. So now, if there is any public comment, if you want to comment on these changes, now would be the time to speak. Or any questions about the proposed changes to the ordinance. And the reason that we are doing this is because we've had so many variances regarding this issue. People just want larger buildings on their property. They have more stuff. They have big campers. They have boats. They have property that they want to keep inside and protect. So that is the driving force, is to update this ordinance to meet the needs of the people. Okay?
I do have a concern, I've run into this before, on the multiple copies of official ordinances. So if I did go to the auditor's office, I look at the official ordinance, scratch out a sentence, walk away, next person comes, that's the official ordinance. I just took out building permits are required for what? Or I slip in a new piece of paper, that's the official ordinance. We just completely change that ordinance, because that is the official copy, or whatever ordinance. So now you have multiple officials, if anybody alters, because you know they're not being supervised, then that is the official, whether they scratch it out, strike through, add a sentence, that will be the official ordinance. I strongly encourage that there's copies, but there should only be one official ordinance.
Well, I don't think the intent of the official ordinance is to let people have the official ordinance. I think you put the official ordinance on file, and if people want to know what's in the official ordinance, there's copies of the ordinance. But an official ordinance, you would think, would be on file in offices and not for the public to come in and get the official ordinance.
Yeah, you don't hand it to someone at the counter.
I just, an official copy of the official zoning, right, there's a lot of official in that sentence, so that makes me a little, a lot of official.
You're not concerned with the public scratching an employee or something?
No, I'd say public.
Public.
If it's got a scratched out line in it, obviously it's been amended or altered in some way. There shouldn't be any scratches, chicken scratch, pen marks, crosses, nothing should be marked on that ordinance.
Something to
Right.
the effect of.
But no, I'm saying someone comes in and does that.
Well, it should be. If it is, then it's been altered, then you should make a new copy. Go to the copier.
And
I don't-
go to the
I don't
other,
know
that's
that.
why we want multiple copies.
Well, who's looking at it to make a determination? See, what is it being used for? Is it there so people, the public can see it and make a decision based on that? And if there's any alterations, then obviously it's been defaced or whatever you want to call it, and it's not,
Vandalized.
yeah.
I think that's against the law, too, to do something like that.
Vandalized the official.
I mean, so if you go into the register of deeds and you pull out a book and you start scratching on it with your pen, I mean,
It doesn't change.
it still means, I mean,
Believe me, I've run into some weird stuff. Someone goes in and crosses off Class D, E and F as animal feeding operations,
Right.
and they walk away, so they're not conditional uses.
Well,
It's out in the official ordinance.
the website can't be changed, right?
You wouldn't think so.
Could be hacked. I think that the important, when we had the discussion of multiple places, it was because look at the situation we were in December. We had something online that was different than the book the planning and zoning had, which was different than what was upstairs.
I just think having an official ordinance in more than one place, it isn't like the public comes in and gets to use the official ordinance. They can get a copy or they can go online and look at it.
It says a copy of, official copy of the official ordinance.
Does it?
That's why meeting minutes and stuff come into play, and that's why it's so important that everything is recorded, right? And that's why it's been up, all that's been gone through, as I understand, and the one we have in front of us here, all the revision dates and the adopted and updated dates are on there. So, and that's all recorded somewhere else other than here. So,
Yes, I suffer from paranoid delusions. A little
I
bit.
understand, I actually, I understand
But
exactly what you're
still-
saying, but I don't know how you 100% ever, if somebody has ill intentions of changing an ordinance and saying, aha, this is the real ordinance.
Now, you know, in the book, then, when you open up the pages, you get to, there's one official map in the zoning administrator's office. Now, the maps in the books are for reference,
Yeah.
but there is one official map. So if you write this as an official map, or official ordinances here, and these are copies of the zoning ordinance, that's fine. Have 10 copies around the courthouse. And we'd love to do that. Previously, the county would only pay for not even one at a time. And they'd call us and they'd send someone over to District 3 and want printing on demand while they're sitting there waiting. Well, it's not how you should buy 10. You can afford it at a time. We'd have a stack here, the county would, and sell them, or give them whatever.
I think the intent is put a lot of this online. If it's available online, that's where most people should go. If you want a printed copy, I think individual, we'll take a printed copy, but I think if somebody in the public wants a printed copy, they should be purchasing it. I mean, if it's available online.
I just think, I look at this as no different than backing up your computer device. You have a copy in more than one place that's the official copy. It isn't a copy that the public comes in and says, I want to see the official copy in the auditor's office or the register of deeds office. That copy is the copy that's the official copy in case something happens to the other official copies, so that we can see this is an official copy of what it is. Because we had that before where we didn't have an official copy that matched, if we had an official copy at all in the zoning office, we didn't have one that matched other official copies. So we should have official copies that are kept in offices that are not for the public to take away. I mean, they can get copies of them. From the zoning office or something. But the intent was to have official copies in more than one place. So if something happened to one office or another office, there was still copies of the official zoning ordinance that had to match up.
That was our discussion.
But to keep it out of public purview, or they can't touch it, they
It
just.
doesn't say anything on here about being available to the public.
Okay.
It says it's available to the public online, is what it says.
Not the official copies,
No, but it says that the
they're just
zoning
kept, whether it's in the-
ordinance is
Well,
available to the
And
public
according to
online.
South Dakota law, the current one has to be online. I mean, otherwise you're in violation of the, that was because of Yankton County.
I honestly don't know what was going on, because we uploaded your zoning ordinance in less than 3 minutes to our website, just to test what was going on. So it isn't an issue. It was formatted, pump it up. We've got everything cleared up. We should all be getting new books, but they're all nice and neat. Our secretary got them all cleaned up, so everything lines up straight, they're not all half off the page. So they're all ready to go. So I didn't.
I'd love to see the-
ways and the intent and whatever else. You need to have an official map somewhere so someone can come out with a crayon and change, rezone a chunk of property. You don't want
That's
someone
almost
having
what-
access to a piece of paper or a document. They could, and there's people who are just,
That map thing, that's gotta be in the zoning administrator's office, because he should be changing that all the time when there's rezones and stuff. In other words,
Right.
that should be changing every time there's a county commission action that changes that. This is not gonna change. I think, a copy of this should be, I would like to see the register of deeds treat this as any other registered document, stamp it, put the date, put the whole thing on it, put the thing if you wanted, you know, to see the original, the official document, you know, you'd have to go in and have the register pull it out for you.
So I really hate to drag this on, but where do we talk about the official? Where's that kept?
Should be, in the original ordinance, it should be, the one I wrote in 2001, and say it's filed with the Register of Deeds.
It doesn't say that.
I don't think it's, that's in our
101.
ordinance, no.
No, it's just in,
That's where it
it's in the zoning office, and it's.
That's the map, that's the map.
That's the map in section 4.
That was the confusion that happened the last time.
Because they,
We added an official copy of the official, but it's nowhere in here that I can find talks about the official zoning ordinance.
Yeah, I don't know where it's
Oh, maybe
anywhere
it
that
just
it
talks
says
about the
that.
map, I think you're right. It just talks about the map.
Official map always goes in the zoning
Yeah.
administrator's office.
Yeah.
All my
It
other
talks about
ordinances,
that.
I have filed.
Maybe they assumed it would never be changed.
I don't think the change or it's been missed, I'll look at it. But that was really, I just want to make sure when we would, because people will scratch and change and modify documents. Whether they're just being playful or they're being.
Personally, I think the official copy should be the online copy, that's
No.
protected, password protected, you know, just like any other thing.
What's a lock PDF?
well, in Article 4, it talks about any and this is to the map, any unauthorized change of whatever kind by any person shall be considered a violation of this ordinance and punishable as provided under section 2303. Would we want to put that in Article 1 too? And any unauthorized change by any person is a violation and shall
I
be
think the
punished.
definition of zoning ordinance, just the definition, it might say, things that we recorded there. Possibly, again.
There's no definition of zoning ordinance.
There is an ordinance in there. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
it talks about referring to this ordinance.
Go back to my old copies and see if there was something in there about the current ordinance to use. If there isn't, we can certainly do that.
Where is it right now?
There's the official ordinance.
Where is it?
Well, the one is, I have an official digital copy, so there's just 3. It's the cleanest, newest. Actually, the newest,
So it won't-
you want to know what the newest and best copy of the ordinance is? Right there, Mr. Michael. He has the best
I
one.
I haven't scratched on mine either, so if the one I got was good, then it's an official copy. But the official copy, where is it right now? Because it's no different, it won't, whatever these changes are we're proposing, won't be any different than what we have right now. So we can move forward with these changes, and then you can fix where your official copy is, okay?
No, that's what I'll say, I'll look and see. But right now, the best ordinance out there as far as being up to date, clean, everything lines up, all the pages match up, everything's new part, stuff starts on odd pages, everything's pretty much perfect. Dennis has it.
But there isn't a digital version, you have a digital
I
version.
have a digital version.
It's online.
Well, to me, that's the official copy. The digital, no, it's the official document, I should say. Because which one gets modified and which one gets printed? Where do you print your copy from? Your online digital version?
No.
Where?
That's generally a locked PDF.
Well, what do you use that for then?
For people viewing, I don't know what they've done. I usually don't do it on the PDF because it usually gets, the print quality goes down, so they're learning how to print out as
What
Word.
I
So where do you
believe is in
print?
the past, if you want to say the official ordinance, Pat had the pages inserted, crossed off, and if there are running changes, every once in a while, you would update them. District 3 would have a new book. And it would be,
But the print, Mike's, Dennis's book second. We can use the mic and Dennis's mic. Where's Dennis' book get printed from? Copy.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, where do they get?
Planning District 3. We've done it for years.
From a digital copy, from a digital.
Commissioner, when you guys
Word document.
pass this as changes, you have to pass this exact date and time when it takes effect. And then someone has to be responsible to get all those changes in all those books.
Yep.
You have to gather up all those books, make sure they're all the same, gather up the, but you have to put a date and a time, and then that's our record. Anything prior to that, you know. But I mean, that's what wasn't being done. They were making changes, but nobody was saying, okay, it's gonna take it. I mean, it took effect whenever it got shoved into a folder.
And the online version, the one that most
It
people
was never
referenced, even, you know, legal counsel, that's where they were going to, and that one had never been updated.
Well, let's just say that's never happened.
No sloppiness.
Do we need an action here tonight to forward this to the county commission? Do we need an action? after
Yes,
this?
you need an official motion, roll call vote to recommend approval
Of these changes.
These changes, which will then go to the county commission, they'll have a public hearing, and then first reading of the ordinance. And then their next commission meeting, they'll hold second reading. The only public hearing is at that first reading. You do not want to have a public, commissioners do not have a public hearing at that second reading. Do not take public comment at that second reading. Because if you do, we start all over.
You can't change it.
Well, you can't take hearing because you didn't
Vote
take,
no or
you
yes.
didn't do proper legal notice. You will lose in court, and we'll go all the way back to the beginning and start all over again. So that's where we gotta be very careful between public hearing, public meeting. And second reading, and if any of these are small enough, you have to publish these in its entirety. So I will help you, show you how to cut it down and publish what we need to publish. It's gonna be spindy, but we'll get it done. Then 20 days after that publication, it's gonna become effective. Could, because Donna said, you want for the date, so when you want it to become effective.
That could be further than 20 days.
Right.
Well, I'll make a motion that we forward to the county commission the changes to the zoning ordinance laid out in this public hearing tonight.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the proposed changes to the zoning ordinance. Roll call vote when you're ready.
Frank,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
Clemish,
Yes.
Michael,
Yeah.
Schultz,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Welch. Motion carried.
All right, is there anyone on the list for public comment? Nope. All right.
Sandy, but I would.
Oh, we need to set a working meeting for the next item on the zoning ordinance we need tonight.
We
So,
decide what that next item was, or
we're gonna work on our,
It's not our fault.
I think we need a
Class.
class of. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we can start discussion.
all right. So we've been having working meetings at 6:30 PM. Does that work for everyone? Yes, okay.
Seven. You don't fall asleep.
Okay.
All right, 6:30, what night do you want to go? You want to go next week? Excuse me. Or do you want to go 2 weeks from now? What works for you, commissioners? You have a chair schedule maybe, or some other people?
Thursday. Wednesday.
Want to go with Wednesday?
What's the date?
Wednesday, the
21st or
21st?
22nd.
You can't make Wednesday?
28th.
Okay. What about Thursday, the 22nd? Oh, okay. 28th?
Yeah, what week, well, who knows?
Yeah, I know that's, we all have the same kind of life. so.
The 28th, I'd rather have the 2 week.
How about the 26th of
26th, Monday?
Monday night? I can't do the 28th.
Okay.
Or the 20, if you want to go 2 weeks, I got the 26th of the 29th.
29th.
29th? 29th work for everybody? Okay. What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Thursday.
6:30, isn't it?
6:30. Okay. So we will meet again on the 29th of August at 6:30 p.m.
We were gonna just talk about
Yeah, class action.
the section, the whole section, or we're just gonna talk about class? Are we talking about the
Well, talk
whole
about
section?
class F and then we'll work from there.
I think we need to get a game plan on how we're gonna address the, if we're gonna address the section, if we're gonna do.
I think we just need, I think it's too big of a monster if you
Yeah. Try to do
get,
everything at
you know,
once.
what we did is we identified a small area that had problems, accessory structures, and we addressed it. And, you know, there are areas that are having problems in Article 5, and I think we need to go in and identify that small area and find something that maybe not everybody would agree, but I think most people would agree on. Like we said at the last one, does anybody think that one animal unit should have a conditional use permit? I certainly don't, and I think that's something we all agree on. What that number is, I don't know, but that's probably where we should start is at what is the point where you should get a conditional use permit and what under that is a point where there shouldn't be a conditional use permit.
But as far as notification, we have to keep this as broad as we can. I mean, we can come in here and talk about anything in this.
Article 5.
Or we could
But if
just
we say
so-
we're gonna talk about this, you know how our discussions go.
Maybe zoning
We have to
ordinance
say we're
change.
gonna talk about
Just
this.
keep it as zoning ordinance change.
I agree, I think Don's right.
Yeah.
We may wander
Because
off
there's
into
some
something
little-
different.
Well, and
I'm
there's some little
betting.
thing that we can fix, like the fireworks, then we can just get that done.
Yeah,
at the same time.
exactly.
All right.
So just
We don't just
zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
zoning
Change.
ordinance update.
Okay.
How about the update?
Zoning ordinance work
Oh,
session.
yeah, right,
Work
yeah.
Work session.
Sure.
Work
Because
session.
we won't be able to vote on it.
No, right.
Right. And then we're covering, we discussed Article
Yeah.
23 or whatever.
Yeah, and really, you know, if there's other things as you guys are reading through that you see that need to be identified, you know, don't be afraid to bring that up. That's how, you know, we did it with Article 10, that's how we did it with Article 101. You know, that was, we
I'd like to
started
discuss
accessory
where the
structures.
official copy of the official copy is.
Well, we have a plan now of where it's going to be.
That's true.
Oh,
So-
okay. I mean the official copy.
How does it go? Triple official?
I don't
double
know.
official?
I don't know. We need to discuss this though. This is
It's gonna be
why.
the 29th, but anybody else appreciate it?
Motion to adjourn.
For this, like
All
a
right, we
day.
have a motion to adjourn.
Well, wait.
All those in favor?
Would anybody else appreciate getting like an email bump up for this a day ahead of time? I
Yeah.
don't wanna give you any extra work,
That
but
would, actually, yeah.
for the working
Yeah.
meeting. The other meetings are
I
pretty easy to
agree.
remember because they're scheduled, but the working meetings sometimes,
And just flash out an email.
yeah.
And I think, let's try to get those packets emailed too, if you guys,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with getting a paper copy.
But I got mine at 9 o'clock last night.
Yeah. I would be okay with getting this a few days earlier on
I
time.
don't think that, I'll take an email, I don't, yeah, I did this, that is what he's probably, but.
Could we get this, when you get the packet put together, emailed out, and then
Some of
when we
it
get
gets
it?
pretty big files.
Well,
That'd be the one thing.
A packet for your working group or? a packet
no,
for
for the planning commission, because I know I got mine yesterday, and then some people got it.
I got mine last night at 9 o'clock, but I got, don't have much time. We just give them 30.
I realize it's hard to get closed out.
It is.
The only thing I'm asking for, the email on the working meeting is because it's always such a different odd time, you know. And in the long run, it might not be a bad reminder for you as well that we're having a working meeting on an odd day.
Well, that, plus I think get the packet a little sooner.
You don't have to send us any information, just every meeting, on the 29th at 6:30, is all I would need.
Well, I'm not sure, the packets are mailed on Thursday.
They were mailed on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Okay.
I got a question too, I'd like to hear, I guess, some advice or answer. In our official document here with our official zoning district maps, the colored maps, is there a way that we can get a blown up thing like that? Because like
For your home?
like Doreen's thing out there at the lake, in that area, I mean, I was there with a magnifying glass trying to figure out where he was
Yeah, you
at.
can't read those.
If you go on the beacon, you have,
I don't have to do that.
yeah, everybody does.
Oh, you can, I don't,
Not if you're not online.
huh?
Are you not on, are you online or no? You
Well,
are?
I can do
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can subscribe.
I'll show you right after
He
this.
just isn't on it.
Yeah, you don't have to be a subscriber to get the information,
It is a free
the
market.
basic stuff.
There's
You
yeah.
can't get everything, but you get the basic. you
Then
can
I
get
went to a
pictures.
couple different sites, and by the time I blew it up big enough to see it on my screen, it was so blurry.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll show you right
I
after
miss
this.
that golden key. I used to have my golden key.
Did you have a
And you
motion?
got all kinds of things.
I know,
You know.
I know. Yeah, you get the little.
There was, I think Zane seconded it, right, Zane?
Huh?
Second that motion.
I did. Long time ago.
All in favor?
All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Stay here as long as you want, you can kick me out.